Well, good day. This video is going to be about the Elk Grove Unified School District password rules. Now, you can't just use any old word as a password in the Elk Grove Unified School District. Your password cannot be horse. That is not allowed. Playground is not allowed either. So not just any old word can be used as a password. Your password must follow the 5 network password rules. We're going to write down all 5 of these rules. So get your notebook out and be ready to go. The first password rule is this: passwords must have at least 7 characters. Okay, pause this video and write this in your notebook. Passwords must have at least 7 characters. The next thing is that passwords must be complex. Now, what does that mean? It means that passwords must have at least 1 character from at least 3 of these 4 categories: an uppercase letter or a lowercase letter, a numeral, or a symbol. So here's 4 categories, and your password must have at least 3 of these 4 categories. You have to have an uppercase letter or a lowercase letter. You have to have a numeral or a symbol. Now, you don't have to have all 4 categories. You could have all 4 categories, but you don't have to. You have to have at least 3 of the 4 categories. Write that down. The next password rule is your password may not contain your first name or your last name or your middle name or your login ID number, and you cannot put in your site name. For us, that's the word Harris. We cannot put the word Harris in our password. So look at this example at the bottom. Does it say Harris? Well, not exactly. It does not say Harris, but it kind of looks like it does, doesn't it? Your password cannot have your name in it. Let's go on to number 4. You cannot use a password that you've used recently. The system will remember your last 2 passwords, and you cannot use either of those 2 passwords. So here's an example. A long time ago, I had a password, halfpint34, and it was at least 7, and it had 3 out of 4 categories: uppercase, lowercase, and numeral. So that was good. I had that password for a long time, and then I decided I'm sick of this password. I'm going to change my password. So I changed it to Lincoln with a capital L and an exclamation point on the end. So I had a new password, and after a month or 2 I got sick of that one. So I changed my password to 8691 power in. That was my password for a long time, 8691 power in, and then I decided I'm going to change my password. I'm kind of sick of that password. So now I'm going to make a new password, and I thought, I'm going to make my new password halfpint34. Now, can you do that? Can you change your password back to halfpint34? Well, the answer is no, because it remembers your last 2 passwords. Your last 2 passwords were Lincoln, and the password before that was halfpint34. So no, you cannot use a password that you've used recently. And in Elk Grove, we decided that recently means the last 2 passwords. Now, if you go to other places, if you go to a business, they might remember your last 4 passwords or your last 8 passwords. They might even remember your last 16 passwords. But here in Elk Grove, they only remember your last 2 passwords. The 5th password rule is you cannot change your password more than once a day. So if you change your password today, you're not going to be able to change it again until tomorrow. And that's a 24-hour day. So if you change your password at 12 o'clock noon today, you cannot change your password tomorrow morning. You have to wait until noon the next day. You cannot change your password more than once a day. So these are the password rules, and I hope you've stopped the video and written down the 5 password rules. Now, we used to have a 6th password rule, but we don't have that one anymore. That was the password rule that said you have to change your password every 120 days. But we don't have that for students anymore. They don't have to change their passwords. So you need to know these 5 password rules. Here's an example. Could you use this as your password? Would this be a good password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? It has lowercase. It has a numeral. It has a period. A period is a symbol. That's 3 out of 4 categories, but don't you think it might be hard to remember this password? It might be hard. But if you think about it, it's not that hard to remember. After all, you are in the 7th grade. What about this password? Is this long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? But wait a minute, isn't it hard to remember? Can you figure it out? Yeah, that's right. Rockabye baby on the treetop. What about this password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? Is it hard to remember, though? Anybody figure this one out? We are never, ever getting back together. That's a Taylor Swift song. Now, some passwords are strong passwords and some passwords are weak passwords. Now, all of these 6 passwords would work. They're long enough. They have 3 out of 4 categories. But these on the right-hand side, they're pretty weak because computer hackers will use a program that just checks every single word in the dictionary. It'll just try every single word in the dictionary. And if it doesn't come across your password, then it'll put a 1 in front. And it'll try every single word in the dictionary with a 1 in front. Then it'll change it to a 2. It'll try every single word in the dictionary with a 2 in front. It'll just keep doing that until it finally hits yours. 1515 now. Oh my gosh, they found out your password. It's not a very good idea to use a password that has a real word in it. Try to make a password that doesn't have a real word. And the word password with a 0 is not a very good idea either. Here are strong passwords, but don't you think this first one is just too hard to remember? Who could remember that? Actually, this password's very easy to remember. It says 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. What about this next one? This is the one I used to use all the time. It says, I went to Mark Twain Elementary School 1 through 6. And I did go to Mark Twain Elementary School 1 through 6. So that was easy for me to remember. I don't think anybody else would be able to figure it out, though. Here's a password that I used to use. I bet nobody can figure it out. You see, my password makes good sense to me, but it does not make good sense to anybody else. And that's why it's a good password. It's very complex. It's got uppercase and lowercase and symbols and numerals. And it says, I watched The Big Bang Theory at 8 p.m. So you should make up a password that nobody else would be able to guess, that it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to anybody else. Here's 8 short examples. Let's see if you can figure these out. Could this be a good password? Could this be your password? Yes or no? The answer is no. This password only has 6 characters, and you're required to have at least 7 characters. So this is not a good password. This could not be your password. Let's try another one. Could this be your password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? No, it does not have 3 out of 4 categories. It only has lowercase and numerals, and that's all. But you have to have 3 out of 4 categories, not just 2 categories. Let's try another one. Do you think this could be your password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? Yes, this could be a good password, but don't you think this would be hard to remember? This password could be hard to remember. Oh, wait, no, this password's very easy to remember. It says BA1, then it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look on your keyboard. Look at your keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, somebody just held down the shift on that one, didn't they? Let's try another one. Could this be your password? Is it long enough? Does it have at least 7 characters? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? Yes, it does. So this would be a good password. What about this? Is this a good password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? Could this be your password? The answer is yes, unless your name is Jennifer. You see, you cannot put your name in your password, but you could put somebody else's name. My name is not Jennifer, so I can use this password because it's not my name. You're not allowed to put your name in your password, but you could put somebody else's name. So this would be a good password for everybody except Jennifer. No, she cannot use this one. What about this for your password? Does this look like it's a password that you could use? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? It has numerals, it has a symbol, and it has a lowercase x. Yes, this is going to be a good password. You could use this as your password. What about this one? Could you use this for your password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? No, it just has numerals and a symbol. That's only 2. No, you have to have at least 3 categories, don't you? Let's look at the last one. Could this be your password? Could you use this for your password? Is it long enough? Does it have 3 out of 4 categories? Well, the answer is yes, this is a good password, unless your name is John. John cannot use this password, but everybody else could. It's not my name. So you have to know these 5 password rules. I hope you've written them down. Finally, let's go over case sensitivity. Usernames are not case sensitive. It doesn't matter if you use an uppercase letter or a lowercase letter for your name, your username. It doesn't matter if it's a capital letter or a lowercase letter. They're equal, aren't they? It doesn't matter if it's a capital G or a lowercase g, but they're the same. Usernames don't matter, but passwords are case sensitive. A capital W and a lowercase w are not the same thing. You have to type your password in case sensitive. Uppercase is different than lowercase. In the classroom, we learned about our username and our secret password, and I'm not going to repeat that here on this video. The school district does not really want you to change your password, but you could. You could change your password. I'll show you how to change your password for your notes. To change your password, the first thing you have to do is log in. Then, once you're logged in, you do another Control-Alt-Delete. And sure enough, underneath that one, it says one of the choices is change a password. So you choose change a password. You'll have to type in your old password, the one that got you in the first place, and then some new password that meets all the 5 password rules. If you can't log in and you're absolutely stuck, you should come to me, Mr. Lushenko, for help, and I can reset your password. I cannot see what your password is. No one can see what your password is, but I could change it for you. So if you get stuck, just come to me and I'll help you out. Well, that's about all there is to it.